She stood beneath the golden arch, the scent of white lilies heavy in the summer air. 100 guests turned their heads, admiring the bride's soft ivory gown as she stepped into the garden venue in Los Angeles. Her heels tapped softly against the cobblestone path, a rhythmic echo of what was meant to be the happiest day of her life. Olivia Bennet had spent months planning this wedding. Every detail, from the sage green bridesmaid dresses to the signature lavender cocktails, was chosen with love. Her vows, handwritten on delicate parchment, rested in her silk clutch like a promise yet to unfold. But today wasn't destined to end with "I do." It would end with something far more brutal, the collapse of her entire world. Just minutes before the ceremony, her best friend Rachel Green had pulled her aside. Rachel was pale, breathless, and visibly shaken. "There's something you need to see," she whispered. Confused, Olivia followed her down a quiet hallway of the venue. Rachel handed her a phone. On the screen was a video, shaky but unmistakably real. A hotel room, the faint glow of afternoon sun, the sound of a familiar laugh. Then her fiancé Marcus, naked, tangled in the sheets with a woman. The woman's voice was low, sultry, and all too familiar. "God, Marcus, she's clueless," the woman giggled. Olivia's stomach twisted. The woman was Celeste, her mother. She stared at the screen, frozen, her breath short and ragged, the world around her blurred as if pulled underwater. She watched the video again and again. Each time, it hurt more. Rachel reached for her. "You don't have to go out there. We can leave. We'll make something up." But Olivia didn't move. She looked up, her face drained of color but her eyes burning with clarity. She shook her head slowly. "No, I'm going to the altar." She walked down the aisle to stunned silence. Marcus stood waiting, nervously adjusting his tie. Celeste sat in the front row, dressed in blush silk, her expression calm. Too calm. Olivia stepped beside Marcus and looked him straight in the eyes. "Hope she was worth it," she whispered. Then she turned to the crowd, took the microphone from the officiant, and lifted the phone. "I'd like to share something with you all," she said. The screen lit up. Gasps rippled through the audience. One woman dropped her wine glass. A man stood, jaw clenched. A bridesmaid covered her mouth. Celeste stood abruptly. Marcus lunged forward, but Olivia had already stepped back, letting the video play to the bitter end. Then, with slow, deliberate grace, she turned and walked down the aisle, not toward a new life with Marcus, but away from the wreckage of what she thought she knew. This wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning. Later, Olivia would post a video online that would go viral within hours. "Welcome to Karma Strikes," she said into the camera, "where betrayal meets justice." Before the wedding turned into a disaster, Olivia Bennet's life looked like something out of a well-curated lifestyle magazine. At 32, Olivia was the kind of woman who made people feel safe. With warm hazel eyes and a laugh that lingered like sunlight, she had a presence that made strangers open up to her within minutes. A pediatric nurse at St. Jude's Medical Center in Los Angeles, she often volunteered for extra shifts, staying late to soothe frightened children and their families. She believed in second chances, Sunday brunches, and handwritten thank you notes. Her apartment in Westwood was modest but inviting, walls lined with books, fairy lights above the couch, and jazz records that played while she prepared her famous lemon thyme chicken. She found joy in small rituals, buying flowers every Saturday, calling her mom every night, and binging true crime podcasts before bed. Marcus Langston, her fiancé, was a rising architect known for his eco-conscious designs. At 35, he was tall, soft-spoken, and endlessly polite, with a fondness for wool sweaters and black coffee. They met at a charity fundraiser for children's housing initiatives. Olivia had been working the first aid booth when Marcus accidentally spilled wine on her scrubs. He offered to replace them, then asked if he could take her to dinner. 3 years later, he proposed under the cherry blossoms in Griffith Park. He remembered her patients' names. He kissed her forehead before bed. He was everything she thought she needed. And then there was Celeste Harper, Olivia's mother. At 54, Celeste was the kind of woman who turned heads without trying. A former model-turned-yoga instructor, she ran a wellness studio in Venice Beach and had over 100,000 followers on Instagram. She was known for her radiant skin, motivational mantras, and cruelty-free skincare line. But for Olivia, she was more than a public figure. She was home. Olivia was an only child. Her father had walked out when she was 6, and Celeste had raised her alone through heartbreak and hardship. Their bond was unshakable. Celeste had been there for every scraped knee, every panic attack, every birthday when no one else showed up. They traveled together, cried together, and healed together. Olivia often said, "My mom is my compass. Without her, I'd lose my way." So when Celeste offered to help plan the wedding, Olivia welcomed it with open arms. At first, everything felt normal. Celeste insisted on helping with the venue search, baking samples for the dessert table, and designing the floral arrangements. She even offered to cover half the wedding costs. Olivia felt grateful, touched by the gesture. But small things began to change. Celeste started critiquing Marcus more than usual. "He's sweet, honey, but are you sure he's ambitious enough?" she'd ask. "You're destined for more than just quiet stability." She began texting Marcus directly. Articles about architectural design, holistic retreats for stress relief. She dropped off vitamin smoothies at his office, baked his favorite cookies on random Tuesdays. Once, after Olivia had worked a late shift, she returned home to find Celeste and Marcus on the balcony, laughing over a bottle of red wine. Celeste wore a silk robe that barely touched her knees. Marcus seemed tipsy, too relaxed. Olivia didn't question it. She trusted them, loved them both. But then came the strange perfume lingering on Marcus's shirts, the missed calls, the sudden change in his lock screen photo from a picture of them together to a landscape shot of a beach. One afternoon, while organizing the back seat of Marcus's car before a weekend trip, Olivia found a lipstick. Coral Rose. She didn't wear that shade. She slipped it into her bag and said nothing. Still, she doubted herself. Maybe it belonged to a client, a co-worker? Then came the final crack in her reality. Celeste edited a section of the wedding itinerary Olivia had emailed her. Under the line for mother-daughter dance, she had typed, "Not necessary. This moment belongs to the couple." The couple? Olivia brushed it off, until she couldn't anymore. The puzzle pieces didn't just fit, they stabbed. But she wasn't ready to name the betrayal, because when you love someone, truly love them, you don't expect the knife to come from their hand. You don't expect your mother to be the one who carves out your trust or your fiancé to help hold the blade. Yet that was exactly what had happened, and the unraveling had only begun. It was a Thursday, one of those quiet, unremarkable evenings when nothing should go wrong. Olivia returned home from her shift at the hospital around 9:30 p.m. Her feet ached. Her head throbbed. The comforting scent of lavender from her apartment diffuser welcomed her as she kicked off her shoes and reached for her phone to order dinner. She expected to find Marcus watching his usual documentary series in the living room, but the apartment was eerily silent. She walked toward their bedroom. The door was ajar. She heard muffled sounds, a laugh, the rustling of sheets, then nothing. "Marcus," she called. No answer. She pushed the door open slightly and saw him lying on the bed, shirtless, holding his phone sideways with a smirk on his face. He didn't notice her. The room was dim, his attention glued to the screen. Olivia took a step back into the shadows, her breath shallow. Then his phone lit up. The message read, "Still thinking about your lips on me. Miss the way you pull my hair." From a contact saved as a single lotus flower emoji. She froze. The lotus. Celeste's favorite symbol. She had it tattooed on her ankle. It was her brand, her entire Instagram bio. A tremor passed through Olivia's body. She felt lightheaded. She waited until Marcus fell asleep before she picked up the phone from the nightstand. No passcode. She opened the thread. And there it was. Messages, photos, audio clips, videos. Intimate photos of Marcus and Celeste in hotel rooms. Voice notes from Celeste's sultry, unmistakable voice. "She has no idea, does she? I watched her hug you goodbye this morning, while I still had your scent on me." One video showed Celeste lying on Olivia's bed, wearing a robe Olivia had bought for her wedding morning. Marcus was behind the camera, laughing. Her fingers trembled. She dropped the phone onto the carpet. Her mouth was dry, her vision blurred, but Olivia didn't scream. She didn't cry. Instead, she turned on every light in the apartment. She printed the messages. She exported the photos. She labeled the audio clips. She transformed her bedroom into a war room. At 6 a.m., Marcus stirred and woke up to the blinding light and the silence of something terrible brewing. He sat up, rubbing his eyes, then gasped. Every wall of the room was covered in evidence. Messages, photos, captions in red ink. Olivia stood in the corner, arms crossed, staring at him. "What is this?" Marcus choked out, voice shaking. "You tell me," Olivia said calmly. "You owe me at least that." He stammered, fell to his knees, apologized, blamed Celeste, claimed he was weak, confused, seduced. He said he had ended it weeks ago. Olivia didn't believe a word. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just handed him a duffel bag packed with his clothes and told him to leave. He begged. She opened the door, said nothing. He left. Then Olivia picked up the phone and called her mother. Celeste answered on the third ring. There was silence. Then Olivia asked, "Why?" Celeste exhaled slowly. "Because I was tired of being invisible, and because you always had everything I gave up." Then she hung up. That was the moment Olivia broke. But her breakdown wasn't chaos. It was discipline. She didn't spiral. She didn't collapse into whine and misery. She transformed her rage into something razor-sharp. She reached out to someone she hadn't spoken to in years. Kelly Thompson, an old college friend who was now a litigation attorney based in downtown LA, known for handling high-profile cases of psychological abuse and emotional betrayal. Olivia showed her everything. Kelly looked through the files in silence, then said, "You won't win in court for heartbreak, but you can win in the court of public opinion. And sometimes, that hurts more." Olivia nodded. She was ready. She bought a burner phone, created anonymous profiles, began tracking Celeste's social media activity, including hidden tags and removed stories. She created a detailed timeline, pieced together the affair, every hotel, every dinner, every betrayal. She ordered a voice recorder online, custom-built to hide inside a yoga mat. She scheduled a fake brand meeting with Celeste at a vegan cafe in Venice, wore a wig, sunglasses, sat 2 tables away, recorded everything. Celeste gushed about an upcoming spiritual rebirth retreat she was hosting in Palm Springs for her 55th birthday. She said she'd be announcing a new chapter of her life. Marcus would be joining her. They would renew their soul contract in front of her most loyal followers. Olivia smiled to herself. Perfect. She began to prepare. Because revenge, to Olivia, was no longer about rage. It was about orchestration. It was about rhythm. And she had all the notes ready. Olivia vanished, at least from the eyes of Marcus and Celeste. She deleted her Instagram, shut down her Facebook, removed herself from every public registry that could trace her. Even her closest friends didn't know where she was. She told her job at the hospital that she needed an extended leave for trauma recovery. No one questioned it. Everyone had seen the dark circles, the lost weight, the sudden quiet that replaced her usual warmth. But Olivia wasn't hiding. She was sharpening. She booked a 2-week stay at a minimalist Airbnb in Topanga Canyon under the alias Lena Hayes. She packed only what she needed: her laptop, a hard drive, and a thick folder labeled Proof. Then she made the call. Adrian Vega. He was a software engineer she had dated briefly 5 years ago. They'd parted amicably, and he had always said, "If you ever need digital revenge, you know who to call." She was calling now. When she told him the full story, he went silent for a beat, then said, "You're going to need backups and broadcast power." They spent the next 48 hours harvesting everything. Adrian recovered deleted files from Marcus's iCloud, pulled data from Celeste's influencer collaborations, found hotel bookings made under fake names, even accessed a shared Google Drive between them titled The Garden. Inside were dozens of photos: Olivia's own bedroom, her bed sheets, her wedding robe, Celeste's voice in clips saying things like, "She thinks she's special because she gives you stability. I give you freedom." The bile rose in Olivia's throat, but she didn't cry. She cataloged it all, organized by date, emotion, severity. Each piece was a brick in the wall she was building, not to hide behind, but to crush them with. Next, she moved into the second phase. She bought a luxury yoga mat and had a discreet voice recorder sewn inside the stitching. Then, she had it delivered to Celeste's studio as a birthday gift, signed, "From a Loyal Follower." Celeste posted it to her story, smiling, unaware of the wiretap she had just accepted. Days later, Olivia scheduled a mock couples therapy session with Marcus. She wanted to hear him lie in real time. He agreed without hesitation. During the session, Marcus claimed it had been just a phase, that he had fallen for a fantasy, that Celeste reminded him of a younger Olivia with fewer expectations. Olivia said nothing, just nodded, tapped her foot. Let the therapist ask the questions while the hidden recorder in her purse captured every syllable. She left the session, walked to her car, and called Adrian. "It's almost ready," she said. Adrian replied, "Then we give them a stage." The final act would take place at Celeste's 55th birthday retreat, hosted at the ultra-exclusive Silverwood Resort in Palm Springs. It was supposed to be her grand soul renewal, an invite-only weekend retreat filled with influencers, spiritual leaders, and media partners. Olivia had never been invited, but she didn't need an invitation. She booked a room at the same resort under the alias again. And while Celeste rehearsed her vows and Marcus practiced a speech, Olivia met with the resort's AV manager, an overworked man named Kyle who loved gossip and hated his job. She offered him a deal: $1,000 in cash and a free weekend getaway at a spa in Santa Barbara if he gave her 5 minutes of access to the resort's LED wall. He laughed, took the cash, and said, "5? I'll give you 10. The next night, she met with Kelly Thompson again. "I want you there," Olivia said, "in case things turn ugly." Kelly looked at the hard drive Olivia handed her. "This is a digital grenade." Olivia nodded. "And I've already pulled the pin." That night, Olivia sat in her suite, glass of red wine in hand, staring at the presentation Adrian had helped her design. She had titled it simply, "The Garden, What Grows in the Dark." Slide 1. A peaceful photo of Celeste meditating. Slide 2. Marcus and Celeste at a hidden cafe. Slide 3. The bedroom, the robe, the whispered promises. Slide 4. Audio clips. her mother's voice calling Olivia weak and boring. Slide 5. The video footage from the yoga mat. Celeste telling a friend, "She's not the daughter I wanted. She's the one I tolerated." Slide 6. Olivia's calm face staring into the camera saying only, "You didn't just steal my heart. You tried to rewrite my story. But I'm the author now." She clicked save and slept like a stone for the first time in weeks because revenge, true revenge, isn't rage. It's rhythm. And tomorrow, her symphony would play. The night air at Silverwood Resort was warm with the scent of eucalyptus and citrus. Fairy lights wove between tall palm trees. Laughter bubbled from champagne flutes. Guests lounged barefoot on embroidered rugs, sipping turmeric cocktails and talking about inner peace like it was currency. Celeste stood at the center of it all, no longer Evelyn Moore, but now fully immersed in her chosen identity, Celestia Aurora. She wore a flowing white dress of raw silk, crowned with woven sage and olive branches. She greeted her guests with serene smiles and phrases like blessings of rebirth and honoring sacred wounds. Marcus stood beside her in a gray linen suit, one hand gently resting on her lower back like a well-trained spiritual consort. This wasn't just a party, this was a public resurrection. The soul renewal ceremony was about to begin. Dozens of influencers had already started live streaming. A drone hovered in the air, capturing cinematic footage of the couple preparing to cleanse their past. A hush fell over the crowd as the lights dimmed. Celeste stepped onto the raised platform near the bamboo altar, holding a bundle of sage in one hand and a microphone in the other. She inhaled deeply and began. "Tonight, we release our old selves. We honor the pain that brought us here, and we welcome the future with open arms." And then the LED screen behind her flickered. A small glitch. Just a quick blink. Celeste paused, smile still fixed in place. The screen turned black. Then, text appeared in bold white letters. "Rooted in truth, what grows in the dark." A hush. Then a murmur. One of the guests dropped a glass. It shattered like punctuation. The screen lit up with a photo of Olivia, standing strong in a black blouse, arms folded, eyes clear and direct. Her voice played, calm and cold. "Hello, Celeste. Hello, Marcus. You thought this was your night, but it never belonged to you. Not after what you did." Slide by slide, the presentation unfolded. A hidden camera clip of Celeste brushing Marcus's hair in Olivia's bedroom. A selfie from Marcus, shirtless, captioned, "She's clueless." A voice memo from Celeste. "You were never meant to marry her. She's just too small for you." The guests gasped. Phones dropped. Some stood up in disbelief. A video played. Marcus kissing Celeste in a hotel room. The timestamp. The same night Olivia had her bridal shower. Then Celeste's voice in a soft whisper. "She thinks she's in love, but we're in power." The lights flickered again, but the presentation didn't stop. Celeste ran toward the AV table, screaming, "Turn it off! Turn it off!" But the station was empty. Then, from the edge of the stage, Adrian Vega stepped into the light, holding a tablet. "You really should have changed the projector password," he said calmly. "Also, you're live. 1.8 million views on Truthwire and climbing fast." Marcus lunged toward him, but was intercepted by two resort staff who had seen enough. And then came the twist. From the crowd, a voice rose, shaking with fury. "Are you kidding me, Celeste?" Marina Holt, her longtime business partner and co-founder of the wellness brand Sacred Earth, stepped onto the platform, waving documents in her hand. "You lied to me," she shouted. "You promised me you were done with him, that this wouldn't touch the company." Celeste's face drained of color. You used corporate funds, my investments, for hotel rooms to fund this disgusting affair." The audience murmured louder. Some began filming. Others simply walked out. "Celeste!" a woman in a linen jumpsuit cried. "You're a fraud!" Marcus opened his mouth to speak, but no one was listening. Then the second twist landed. The screen faded to black, then came back live. Olivia's face appeared, broadcasting from her suite above. Her hair was pulled back. She wore no makeup, just a calm, even expression. "I want to thank you all for coming," she said. "I know this wasn't the ceremony you expected, but this is what rebirth looks like. When it's honest." She looked down, almost thoughtfully. "You didn't just betray me," she continued. "You desecrated every memory we shared, every moment I thought was real." Celeste sobbed, crouched on the stage. Marcus stood frozen, eyes darting toward every phone, every camera, every judge in the crowd. "I was supposed to be the one broken by this," Olivia said. "But here's the thing about betrayal. It only breaks you if you let it." She leaned forward. Voice sharpened. "You tried to bury me in silence, but I planted that silence, and from it, this grew." At that moment, the resort gates opened. 2 uniformed police officers entered, followed by Marina and a legal aide. "I filed an injunction this morning," Marina declared, "and reported misuse of business funds. Everything you've built, everything we built, is now under audit." Celeste tried to stand, but stumbled, grabbing Marcus's arm. He shook her off. Olivia's screen faded out. Celeste collapsed to her knees. Marcus bent over and vomited into a decorative planter. And just like that, the soul renewal ceremony turned into a public demolition. A fire ignited not with matches, but with the spark of truth. And no one watching would ever forget the night karma found its stage. The sun rose over Silverwood Resort, bathing the manicured hills in soft golden light. But no amount of California sunshine could burn away the wreckage left behind the night before. News vans lined the main gates. Paparazzi camped near the entrance, zoom lenses trained on every departing guest. The resort's signature lavender-infused air now hung heavy with scandal. Headlines exploded across every platform. Wellness queen exposed in live cheating scandal. Sacred Earth spirals after founder's secret affair. Architecture's golden boy falls from grace. Marcus Harrow's professional life crumbled in under 48 hours. His firm in Santa Monica severed all ties. Several clients filed breach of contract notices, citing ethical misconduct. His name vanished from company websites. No one wanted to be associated with the man who was caught on video betraying his fiancée and broadcasting it to millions. Celeste, once revered in the wellness community as a beacon of feminine renewal, watched her empire disintegrate overnight. Sacred Earth lost every sponsorship within a day. Marina Holt, now distanced and furious, pulled all funding and filed a fraud lawsuit. Influencers who once praised Celeste's brand quietly deleted past collaborations. Her Instagram went from 90,000 followers to 12,000 in a week. Most of them hate followers or bots. Her meditation retreats were canceled. Her name became synonymous with hypocrisy. She deactivated every platform one by one until her digital presence faded like a ghost too ashamed to haunt. But Olivia? She disappeared from Los Angeles quietly. No press tour, no statement. Just gone. She resurfaced 3 months later in Ashland, Oregon, under a new name, Leah Rowan. A quiet town framed by pine trees and red brick bookstores became her new sanctuary. She opened a wellness center of her own, but not one for yoga or crystals. It was called The Fire Within. Not a retreat, but a refuge, for women rebuilding after betrayal. The walls weren't decorated with Instagrammable quotes. They were lined with handwritten letters, Real stories from survivors around the world. Women wrote in from New York, Berlin, Manila, Melbourne. Some were cheated on, others manipulated, gaslit, abandoned. All carried wounds not visible to the eye, but carved deep into the soul. Every Friday, the center held silent story circles. No phones. No recordings. Just chairs, tea, and raw honesty. Olivia never opened the sessions with lectures. She simply said, "You're not broken. You're rebuilding." It became a movement. A quiet one, but powerful. She stayed off social media. She didn't chase virality. Instead, she nurtured something more lasting, truth in its rawest, most healing form. 6 months later, Adrian Vega showed up at the center. He didn't text first. He didn't send flowers. He just came. They sat outside under a cedar tree. No big declarations, no rehearsed apologies. Just two people breathing in silence that finally felt peaceful. "I kept the projector tablet," he said, half smiling. "Just in case." Olivia laughed. Not the bitter laugh she used to hide pain, but a soft one. A real one. "Keep it," she said. "Truth deserves a backup." They didn't talk about the past after that. They just walked. Olivia never looked for revenge again, because what she built was bigger than revenge. It was a reminder that healing isn't loud. It doesn't demand applause. It doesn't trend. It's quiet. It's consistent. And it comes not when we've forgotten the betrayal, but when we've redefined ourselves beyond it. She once said to her group, "You don't rise by being unhurt. You rise by refusing to stay buried." And that's how karma struck, silent, swift, and unmistakably just. If this story moved you, subscribe to Karma Strikes and share it with someone who needs to remember. The truth always finds its way to the surface. Have you ever seen a betrayal this deep? Or survived one yourself? Let's talk in the comments.